For me, I don't approve of titles anywhere. Okay, there's no one beneath me, and there's definitely no one above me. I play along with, Lord and Lady and Baroness and this and Your Honour. I'm not calling anybody Your Highness, because there's no. I'm sorry. I do not believe. I think we're all created. I don't approve of any of this stuff. I think it's old-fashioned, silly nonsense. But if you want to have the pomp and the pageantry, and you want to have a head of a state, it's not late. That's fine. Okay, but I'm not bowing down to all that nonsense. The idea of saying we're going to have this family that we're going to hold up and put on a pedestal. Well, how's that working for you?
Well, I would say that the royal family has consistently, I'm afraid, pretty consistently had a problem with what to do with the spare.
Yeah.
And it is a...
Hi, Prince Harry.
It is an...
Did I just hear Julia Hartley Brewer talk sense? Somebody pinch me because I must be dreaming. This is the same Julia who has spent years defending nonsense on Talk TV, and suddenly she's out here sounding like she just finished reading Spare and binge-watching the Harry and Meghan documentary. What is happening? Julia stood there and said, clear as day, there's no one beneath me and definitely no one above me. And you could practically hear the royal hierarchy shaking, because that one statement alone dismantles the entire foundation of the monarchy. The idea that some people are born superior simply because they popped out of the right womb. For once, she was spitting absolute truth. She called titles old-fashioned silly nonsense, and honestly, I've never agreed with her more. She said she's not calling anyone Your Highness, and I nearly applauded. It's like she woke up one morning, took a deep breath and said, you know what, I'm done playing royal dress-up. And you know that somewhere in a dark Talk TV office, a producer was clutching their pearls in despair, because how dare one of their own say what Harry and Meghan have been saying all along. Julia basically walked onto their royal-loving turf and echoed the Sussex gospel, without even realising it. Let's be clear, what Julia said wasn't just reasonable, it was revolutionary for that platform. She questioned the system, she challenged the very concept of bowing to another human being, and she exposed the absurdity of putting a family on a pedestal and pretending they represent moral perfection. She even said, if you want the pomp and pageantry, fine, but I'm not bowing down to that nonsense. I mean, that's practically the modern version of Meghan saying, I'd rather be authentic than bow to a lie. Julia just proved that deep down, even the most outspoken royal commentators know how ridiculous this all is. And here's where it gets even better. Julia touched on the issue of the spare. She said it outright. This family has always had a problem with what to do with the spare. That line alone could have been lifted straight from Harry's memoir. Because that's the heart of the royal dysfunction. A system that pits brothers against each other, labels one as heir and the other as backup, and then acts surprised when resentment brews. She called being born to be king a terrible thing, and she's right, it's a gilded prison. William can't escape it, Harry escaped and was vilified for it, and yet people still pretend this is all some fairy tale. Julia just stripped that illusion bare. But then she went further. She brought up Prince Andrew. And not in the usual sugar-coated, he's been through enough kind of way. No. She said, and I quote, that you can't be friends with someone who has been trafficking underage girls and expect people to respect you. That's the truth. The kind of truth that the palace and most of the British media conveniently ignore. That's what makes Julia's moment of clarity so refreshing, because she didn't tiptoe around it. She said what needed to be said, while the rest of the press pretends it's business as usual. The double standard is staggering. Because when Meghan speaks out about injustice, mental health or inequality, she's labelled difficult or disrespectful. But when Julia says the same thing about the monarchy being outdated nonsense, it's suddenly a brave and honest take. That right there is the hypocrisy Meghan has been screaming about for years. It's fascinating to watch the British media slowly choke on their own contradictions. They want to adore the monarchy but can't defend its dysfunction. They want to attack Meghan but end up agreeing with her without realising it. And Julia's rant just proved it. Deep down, even royal defenders know this whole system doesn't make sense. And let's not ignore the irony of this happening on Talk TV, a channel that has practically turned royal drama into a sport. The same place where hosts foam at the mouth every time Meghan breathes. One week, they're yelling that the monarchy is sacred. And the next, Julia's on air declaring it old-fashioned nonsense. You couldn't make this up. Julia said she doesn't believe anyone is above her. And you could almost hear Piers Morgan twitching somewhere in the distance, because that one sentence completely dismantles the hierarchy he worships. Imagine Talk TV being the place where someone finally admits that the monarchy is, at its core, outdated class theatre. And here's the wild part. Julia might not even realise that by rejecting titles and hierarchy, she's agreeing with the very couple her network spends so much time vilifying. Meghan and Harry have said from day one, this system traps people, divides families, and feeds the media machine that profits from their pain. Julia's words, intentionally or not, echoed that truth. The only difference is she won't be dragged through headlines or called a traitor for saying it. Because unlike Meghan, she fits the acceptable British media mould. But the message is the same. Titles don't make people good, and bowing doesn't make anyone noble. It's also telling that when Julia mentioned Prince Andrew, she drew a line. She said you can't align yourself with people accused of such vile acts and still expect respect. That one line cuts deeper than anything the Palace PR team has ever managed to say. Because the real scandal isn't Meghan drinking green juice in California. It's a monarchy that protects its own, no matter the crime. And for all the people who say Meghan disrespected tradition, I ask, what tradition are you defending? The one that silences women, protects predators, and weaponizes the press against anyone who won't play along. Julia might not have meant to, but she called the entire structure out for what it is, a facade built on privilege, hypocrisy, and outdated pageantry. And that's what makes this moment so deliciously ironic. Julia, the queen of common sense, ended up echoing the very message that the Sussexes were vilified for sharing. You can almost imagine Meghan watching that clip, nodding slightly, thinking, finally. So yes, Julia, welcome to the Clarity Club. It's been a long time coming. You've finally said what millions have been thinking. The monarchy is an expensive, outdated performance. And the sooner Britain admits it, the sooner the country can move forward. Because if people like Julia, who once rolled their eyes at Meghan, are starting to question the system, that means the grip of royal worship is loosening. And that is powerful. Now let's see how long this newfound honesty lasts before Talk TV pivots back to their usual programming of royal outrage and Meghan blame games. Because let's be honest, tomorrow they'll be back with a segment called Is Meghan to Blame for the Weather? But for one rare, shining moment, Julia Hartley Brewer actually said something worth listening to. Julia spoke truth, maybe by accident, but truth nonetheless. Titles are nonsense. The hierarchy is a relic. And if more people in the UK media had the courage to say it out loud, maybe we'd stop pretending that bowing and curtsying to privilege is somehow noble. Meghan and Harry didn't abandon tradition. They simply stopped worshipping it. And that, right there, is what freedom looks like.